These are looking in that glorious category. We've been surprising ourselves quite a bit here. This might be the most surprising success yet. Let's make crispy southern fried chicken. All right, welcome to Kitchen Captain. I'm Ian Walsh, and today we're getting into a recipe I've been dying to make. We're gonna do a southern fried chicken that is gonna be so goddamn crispy. Let's go. Okay, first up, we're gonna make a rub. Let's start with our paprika and use 2 tablespoons of this. Doesn't have to be exact. We're gonna get about 2 tablespoons of fresh ground black pepper. Try not to get a muscle cramp while doing so. Maybe even switch it up if you can. God, that feels awkward. Wrap up our pepper. Then we're going about 2 teaspoons of dried oregano. You can definitely eyeball this too. Or aim for a spoon here and just be missing it entirely and filling up the bowl. Don't buy these little guys if you're looking for speed. All right, 2 teaspoons garlic powder, half a teaspoon cayenne pepper. You want a little bit more kick? Add a little bit more cayenne. Now let's take in our pepper. So 2 tablespoons of this. Now we'll give our rub a little mix. Set that aside. Get into our dredge. First in is gonna be about 1.5 cups all-purpose flour and 1/2 cup of cornstarch. 2 teaspoons salt. 1 teaspoon baking powder, okay? Easy, Turbo. Where did my tablespoon thing go? Oh, here it is. We're gonna set aside 2 tablespoons of our rub, which is gonna go into our marinade. I'm gonna do a little bit extra. And then the rest of it is gonna go right into our dredge. And we'll give this all a good whisk. This apron's really annoying. It's got like the good gap here for boobs, if you have them. At the moment, I do not. Okay, dredge is all set. Our marinade, or our brine portion of this, is gonna consist of 1 cup of buttermilk, 1 egg. That almost splashed everywhere. And lastly, or not lastly, and 2 tablespoons of our rub mixture we just made. Then we're gonna add a little splash of pickle juice. That much. Guess I lied. There's one more and. We're gonna add a little bit of our flour to thicken this up. And then give all of this a good whisk. It's time to cut our chicken and get it into this buttermilk bath. We're gonna break down a chicken for a 10-piece meal here. So I guess we're gonna break down a microwave instead. Microwave is back intact. Now we can break our chicken down. Trim a little bit of the skin here, flop it over, cut along the backbone, and then go between the joints. 1 leg, 2 leg. Wings, same thing, pop the joint. 1 wing. Gizzard, do not need that. Liver, do not need that. Probably should have emptied out that cavity, but we're there now. 2 wing. To cut the back out, we're gonna go straight down and then fold it open. Sounds very aggressive. And then trim as we go. There goes our spine. We can use that for a stock. Breasts right down the middle. Get ready for a thud. Can trim some of that excess skin off. Then we're gonna cut the breasts in half. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 piece. Oh, no, I lied. We're gonna cut our legs and thighs in half. To separate the thighs and the legs, we're gonna find the joint and cut right between it. And to find it, you can kind of wiggle it and you'll feel where the joint is. And if you get a misfire, you can go back in. So we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 piece fried chicken special coming up. While the hands are still filthy, we'll add our chicken. We're gonna get all of this good and incorporated while we get a little nasty. And then I'm gonna wash these filthy hands and get this into a Ziploc bag without splattering this all over my kitchen. I'm just gonna go one by one right in. Thought there might be a safer way of doing this. Then we'll take the rest of our marinade, pour it right in there. Now we'll close up our Ziploc, get as much air out of there as we can without squirting our buttermilk everywhere. Lay it down in the fridge 24 hours. Okay, chicken has been in the fridge overnight. We're gonna go chicken, dredge, into the bags, pour all the dredge in there and violently shake that bag, and we have it on a sheet pan in case we have any mishaps. I'm gonna fish out about 3 tablespoons of our marinade and add it to our flour to get that good, clumpy, crispy texture. Give that a mix, get those clumps going. Very similar theory to if you're making a Nashville spicy, crispy chicken sandwich, which I'll put a link right above me and in the description below. But you get this little clumpy dredging mixture going, and they create quite a mound of deliciousness on the outside of our chicken. This bag theory too, this is new to me. I'm borrowing this from Kenji Lopez Alt, who's an absolute wizard of a chef, and I love the idea. Always have these extra bags laying around, so why not use them? I really wanted to make this fried chicken specifically because I really like fried chicken, 1, and 2, I really want to do a fried chicken and waffles night. And in order to do so, I want to settle on the ideal fried chicken, which I think this is. I swear this dredge is getting better with each piece of chicken because it gets a little bit more of the marinade in it, and it gets these nice clumps that I would assume are gonna be Flavor Town. If you haven't noticed, I'm a big fan of contingency plans here. Like this bowl underneath the Ziploc bag. So when that thing's in the fridge, if you have an unidentified blowout of that bag, you don't end up with a buttermilk raw chicken disaster through every level of your fridge if that baby's on the top shelf. I love cooking. I don't think I'm in love with cleaning up a mess I didn't mean to happen. Now I'm gonna pour the rest of this dredge right into our bag. Clean this one nasty hand off. Get to mixing this, get our oil up to temp, and we're ready for liftoff. Let's roll our bag up and get to shaking. We're actually operating with the double bag here. Get a little more space. Heavy chicken. I'm not gonna get too greedy with a paper bag and heavy chicken. That's shaken, it's ready. Heat up our oil. We're aiming for about 340 degrees. And we're using 2 quarts. Ow, that was hot. Hello. We're using 2 quarts of peanut oil or a half gallon, whatever you want to call it. Obviously that was hot. Just soaked it into 340 degree oil. Okay, our oil is good. Let's give these a last little shake and bake. And we're gonna try to find the big pieces and do those first. Now we don't want to touch these. We want them to set in there. And I also don't want to add any more chicken because this is looking plenty enough high tide for me, and I do not need a scalding hot oil disaster in the middle of my kitchen. So we're gonna let these set before we start moving them around and getting them evenly cooked. Okay, with our first batch in here, we're trying to get the oil to stay around 270, 280 degrees. And they've been in there for a few minutes, and we're gonna very gently try to flip these and move them around without ripping the skin off and kind of getting them off the bottom part of the pot. It's a very delicate dance here, but I don't want them to be like super dark brown on one side and not the other. Check our temp, 269. And I'm kind of playing with the temperature up and down to keep it pretty even around that 270 mark. Okay, I think these are about done, so we're gonna take them out and we're gonna let these rest in an oven at 200 degrees while we cook the second batch, so they'll definitely surpass our 165 mark. And I'm also very tenderly trying to get these out of here. Before our second batch goes in, let's clean our little walkout so we don't get a bunch of burnt bits in there. We want to get back to where we were, about 340 degrees, and we'll put our second batch in. Nice and carefully. Just tenderly giving these things a little flip, a little spin, and not letting it just sit on the bottom of the wok to try to avoid getting just one big black mark on it. We're trying to keep our temp around 270, 275, and our little buttons here to go up and down are like our jet ski throttle. Go up, down, up, down. Oh, these are looking good. Gonna get our sheet pan out of the warm oven and get everything ready for our landing. Definitely a little more tedious than I thought to just manage them from being too dark in one area. But I guess that's cooking. We're not using a crock pot. I think the little ones are pretty much done. And we'll just give our thighs a couple more minutes. Okay, now while these sit here doing their thing, we're gonna clean our oil out, and then we are going to bump the temp up and give these a second fry very quickly for about 2 minutes. And they are gonna be ultra crispy. We're gonna set the oil to 350 to 375 because we're using a lot of chicken. If you're only gonna do a couple pieces, then knock that temp down around 325. And we could actually save some of this, put it in the refrigerator, and do this same double fry process tomorrow if we wanted. But we have this around 355, and we're gonna lower our chicken in here for just a quick minute, 2 minutes. And we're still gonna have to probably go in batches because this was like the megalodon of all chickens. And on the side, we have a bowl with some paper towels that we're gonna drop these straight into, salt right away. These are gonna come right out straight into our bowl with that same delicate handling of a poet. Salt these ones quickly. Last batch, 1 to 2 minutes in here. Keep dancing them around because we don't want them to sit on the bottom. All right, these are ready. Into our bowl they go. These are looking in that glorious category. As they're fresh out of the oil, little hit of salt, turn our oil off, let that come down to temp, and we can all breathe now. Should I try a leg, a wing? I'm gonna go for a thigh. Still definitely hot, so my spidey senses are telling me there is a chance I'm gonna burn my mouth. No, perfect temp. Phenomenal. I mean, I'm speechless. Juicy, crunchy, the skin and the batter and that dredge all stayed together. Doesn't taste greasy. That crust is unbelievable. The double fry adds a layer of crispiness, but that first one, I don't know, seemed to be just fine too. But this is so good with the addition of that double fry that I don't know if I'll ever do it different again. No joke, it's that good. Pair this with a little cornbread, little grits, little collard greens. I mean, what are we even talking about? This is so good. I hope you can hear that crunch, because I can taste it and I can feel it in my loins. There you go. Crispy, southern fried chicken. Thanks for watching. Tender, juicy little thing.